I was still holding the Starbucks carrier when I heard the laugh. Not a quiet one. The kind that spreads because it expects company. I had just stepped into the kitchen, the door barely closing behind me, when her voice floated over the counter, loose and careless. She was telling her friends she was pregnant. Not by me, by her ex, and that I had no idea. The laugh exploded after that. Too loud, too confident. One of her friends pushed it further, repeating it like a punchline, making sure everyone heard. The TV in the living room kept playing some Netflix sitcom, canned laughter bleeding into the room like background noise that didn't belong to us. My wife, Emily, was standing by the island with her phone in her hand, screen down, the way she always did lately. She looked perfect in front of them, relaxed, glowing. The HR manager who always knew how to control a room. At home, that smile never lasted long. I didn't rush. I didn't raise my voice. I set the coffee down slowly, the cardboard scraping the stone just enough to be noticed. Then I walked in fully, letting them see me. I asked her to say it again. Not louder, just again. Her face drained so fast it was almost mechanical, like someone had pulled a plug. The loud friend stopped first. The others followed. No one moved. No one laughed. For a second, the only sound left was the TV, and the quiet realization that I hadn't imagined any of it. No one chased me when I left the kitchen. No one tried to laugh it off. That silence followed me down the hallway, thick and unfinished. I didn't slam doors. I didn't ask questions. I grabbed my keys and walked out like I was late for something ordinary. I sat in my car for a full minute without starting the engine. From the window, I could see the kitchen lights still on. Shapes moving. Panic rearranging faces. Emily didn't come after me. That told me more than any explanation ever could. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Not from her. From Lisa, one of her friends. The one who complained about everything and loved an audience. She didn't apologize. She didn't deny anything. She asked if I was okay, then added that Emily had been stressed for months and that her ex, Mark, had just reappeared recently. Like it was weather. Like it happened to them, not because of them. I didn't respond. At dinner, Emily barely touched her food. Her phone stayed face down, but it kept lighting up the table like a heartbeat she couldn't control. Same name, over and over. Each time, she'd flinch, then stand up and say she needed the bathroom or some air. She never took the phone with her before. Now she never left it behind. I noticed times, durations, the way her tone changed when she came back. Shorter, sharper, like I was interrupting something more important. That night, while she slept facing the wall, I opened our shared calendar. One entry stood out. No address, just a block of time labeled appointment. It lined up perfectly with a clinic near Mark's office. I closed the app, and for the first time, I didn't feel confused. I felt focused. The next morning, I worked from home. Same desk, same screens, same coffee. I didn't confront her. I didn't watch her closely. I let her move the way she thought she always had. She left her phone on the counter while she showered. Face down, silent. But notifications don't care about secrecy. The screen lit up again. Mark. Then again. Mark. Same pattern as the night before. Short bursts. Pauses. Replies timed like coordination, not conversation. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't need to. I logged into our shared Amazon account. 2 storage boxes ordered at 2:14 a.m. Not by me. Canceled 5 minutes later. I checked our bank app. A new savings account linked to her name only. Opened 3 weeks ago. Small transfers. Regular. Careful. In our email, I found a confirmation she'd archived but never deleted. A clinic reminder. Same day as the calendar block. Same area code as Mark's office. The subject line was neutral. The timing wasn't. She came out of the bedroom dressed for work, already irritated. She told me not to start anything today. Told me she had meetings all afternoon. Her voice was flat, practiced, the one she used when she wanted control back. I nodded. Let her talk. Let her leave. When the door closed, I opened my laptop again. I pulled our shared subscriptions. Streaming. Cloud storage. Family plans. Everything tied to one ecosystem. One structure. By noon, I wasn't searching for answers anymore. I was mapping exits. And by the time her location pinged near the clinic, I was already changing passwords. I didn't pack in a rush. That was important. Rushing leaves traces. I moved through the apartment the way I used to move through systems at work, isolating dependencies, cutting cleanly. Clothes first. Documents next. Devices last. By mid-afternoon, the guest room was empty. My side of the closet looked like it had never existed. I logged out of the shared iCloud, then removed my number from the family plan. The music stopped syncing. Photos stopped updating. Calendars went blank. I watched the confirmations stack up on my screen. Access removed. User not found. Session expired. Around 5, her phone tried to sync and failed. I knew because the alert popped on my laptop before I shut it down. The system always reports the break before the user notices. I left the apartment key on the counter. Not hidden, not dramatic, just placed where it would be found quickly. I didn't leave a note. When she pulled into the Target parking lot that evening, I was already gone. I saw the location ping, then disappear as I disabled sharing. No final look. No message. Just absence. I checked into a hotel across town under my middle name. Paid cash for the first night. Logged into nothing personal. My phone stayed quiet for almost an hour. Then it started. Missed calls that didn't connect. Messages that bounced. Read receipts that never appeared. Her iPhone kept refreshing, searching for a profile that no longer existed. By the time she got home, the apartment answered for me. Empty shelves. Dead screens. Silence where structure used to be. That was the moment she realized I hadn't walked out. I had removed myself. The next day, I didn't block her immediately. That would have been too obvious. I muted everything instead and let the noise collect unanswered. Voicemail stacked up. Emails came in waves. The tone shifted fast, from confusion to irritation to something tighter and more desperate. I stayed offline, but I wasn't disconnected. I watched patterns. The time she called. The gaps. The way Mark's name appeared less often now, replaced by hers everywhere else. By noon, someone else reached out. Lisa again. The friend who liked control through disclosure. She didn't ask how I was. She told me Emily was having a hard day and that people were starting to ask questions at work. Apparently, Emily had told them I was overwhelmed, that I needed space, that everything was fine. She was still performing. That afternoon, Mark's situation started unraveling on its own. Not because I exposed him directly, because structures don't hold when they're built on overlap. His name showed up in places it shouldn't have. Schedules crossed. Stories conflicted. Someone noticed. Someone always does. I didn't interfere. I didn't push. I let momentum do its work. That evening, Emily tried again. New number. Unknown caller. I let it ring until it stopped. A message came through seconds later. Short. Controlled. Asking to talk like adults. I didn't respond. From the hotel window, the city looked indifferent. Cars moved. Lights changed. Systems continued without us. That's when it became clear. She wasn't panicking because she missed me. She was panicking because she couldn't reach me. By the third day, the story stopped being private. Emily couldn't control that part. She never could. At work, the version she told began to crack under repetition. People compared notes. Schedules didn't line up. Her calm explanations started sounding rehearsed. Lisa did most of the damage without realizing it. She talked too much. She always had. She mentioned the pregnancy at the wrong lunch table, framed it like a joke that landed flat. Someone asked a follow-up question. Someone else remembered hearing something different a week earlier. The room went quiet in that specific way that means judgment has already started. Emily wasn't there to manage it. I heard about it later, indirectly. A colleague from another department messaged me, asking if everything was okay at home. The wording was careful. The implication wasn't. I didn't reply. That afternoon, Emily posted a photo online. Just her. No caption that meant anything. Too polished. Too fast. It was the kind of post meant to signal stability when none existed. The comments were supportive but thin. Hearts without questions. Distance disguised as kindness. At home, the apartment stayed dark. No music. No TV. She didn't invite anyone over. That would require explanations. Instead, she stayed inside and made calls that went unanswered. I walked past the building that evening without stopping. I didn't look up at the windows. I didn't slow down. From the outside, nothing looked different. That's how it works. The collapse isn't loud. It's social. It's subtle. It's the moment when people stop asking how you are and start talking around you. And for the first time, She was the one standing in a room, smiling, while everyone else quietly stepped back. By the end of the week, she stopped pretending she was fine. The calls changed again. Fewer words, longer silences, messages that didn't ask questions anymore, just stated facts. She said she was alone. She said she needed to talk. She said this wasn't how it was supposed to go. I didn't correct her. I saw her once, by accident. Or maybe it wasn't. She was sitting in her car outside the building, engine off, phone in her lap, staring at the entrance like she expected me to appear if she waited long enough. She looked smaller, not broken, just unsupported. I walked past without turning my head. Later that night, she tried another route. A mutual contact. Someone neutral. The message came framed as concern. She was worried about me. She wanted to make sure I was okay. The concern didn't extend to accountability. It never does. I stayed quiet. The isolation did the work for me. Her friends pulled back. Work stayed polite but distant. Mark disappeared from the picture entirely. Whatever he offered had an expiration date, and it wasn't aligned with reality. She was left with the version of herself she never planned to sit with. No audience. No leverage. No one to manage. From my side, life simplified. New routines. Clean boundaries. No shared alerts. No location pings. No overlapping calendars. I existed without being observable. That was the shift. Not anger. Not closure. Just separation so complete it forced her to feel the absence instead of arguing with it. When she finally sent the message that said she understood now, I believed her. Not because she'd changed, but because there was no one left to convince. She finally found me through a channel I hadn't closed. Not digital. Physical. She showed up where I knew she might. A quiet cafe near my office. The kind of place built for routines. She didn't sit down right away. She stood there, waiting for permission that never came. I didn't look surprised. I didn't move. She spoke first, carefully, like every word was being tested for damage. She said she wasn't there to fight. She said she just wanted to explain. She said things had gotten out of control. The pregnancy. Mark. The jokes. The timing. She framed it like a series of accidents that collided. I let her talk until the space ran out. When she stopped, she waited for something back. A reaction. A question. A signal that this was still a conversation. I didn't give her one. The silence stretched long enough to become uncomfortable. People around us noticed without looking. That kind of tension has weight. She tried again, softer this time. She said she never meant for me to hear it like that. She said hearing it out loud had made it sound worse than it was. She said she hadn't felt seen lately. I nodded once. Not in agreement. In acknowledgement. I told her I didn't disappear. I told her I stopped showing up where I was treated like background noise. My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. She reached for something else then. Regret. Fear. The idea of starting over. She asked what I wanted. I stood up. That was my answer. As I walked out, I didn't feel relief. I felt finality settling into place, quiet and irreversible. And behind me, for the first time, she had nothing left to add. After that, things unraveled faster than she expected. Not publicly, not dramatically, quietly. The kind of collapse that doesn't trend, but leaves permanent marks. She stopped posting. Not because she didn't want attention, but because she didn't know what story to tell anymore. At work, she took a few days off. When she came back, people were polite in a way that felt distant. Conversations ended sooner. Invitations stopped coming. The pregnancy became something no one asked about directly, which was worse than questions. Mark didn't stay. He had already pulled back before I ever saw her in that cafe. Whatever confidence he'd offered depended on secrecy. Once that was gone, so was he. His name stopped appearing anywhere. No more late calls. No more explanations disguised as support. At home, the apartment stayed the same, but it didn't function the same way. Systems need balance. She had removed that without realizing what else it supported. Bills missed their rhythm. Small things broke and stayed broken. Silence stretched into days. I heard about it indirectly. Always indirectly. Someone mentioned she wasn't doing well. Someone else said she looked exhausted. No one asked me to intervene. They already knew better. From my side, life kept moving. New address. New routines. Clean lines. No shared history bleeding into the present. Her absence stopped feeling sharp and started feeling factual. The last message she sent wasn't emotional. It was stripped down. She said she finally understood what she'd lost. She said she wished she'd known sooner. I didn't reply. Understanding after collapse doesn't restore anything. It just confirms what's already gone. The last time I heard her name, it came without emotion. Just information. Someone mentioned she'd moved apartments. Smaller place. Closer to work. Easier to manage alone. The sentence ended there, like it didn't need commentary. That's how these things conclude. Not with closure. With irrelevance. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel bitter. I felt aligned again. My days had structure. My nights were quiet in a way that didn't echo. No shared alerts. No second devices. No laughter bleeding through walls that didn't belong to me. Every system I rebuilt worked because it was honest. Inputs matched outputs. Cause met effect. I never told my side of the story. Not to friends. Not to family. Not online. There was no version that needed defending. The truth had already done its work without me carrying it around. Sometimes I thought about that moment in the kitchen. The laugh. The confidence. The assumption that I would stay unaware because I was convenient. Because I was stable. Because I was quiet. She mistook silence for weakness. What she never understood was that silence is how decisions sound before they're final. I didn't disappear out of anger. I didn't leave to teach a lesson. I simply stopped participating in a life where trust had been turned into leverage and a child into a strategy. If she tells the story now, I'm sure I'm framed as distant. Cold. Unreachable. That part is true. Not because I ran, but because I learned exactly when to stop showing up where I wasn't respected. What would you have done in my place? If the story hit you, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe. It only gets stronger from here.